8 a.m. Let's open with a pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is we want to talk about the CARES Act reimbursement as far as administrative leave expense and other administrative costs in the grant. I know I already have my opinion. Kevin, did you want to start out?
Sure, I can start off.
Okay.
Well, I'll just give a quick rundown here. Right now, total remaining funds of around two money that's not been encumbered is $73,000. So there's still, but I still know there's a couple projects out there that's making its way through.
Yeah.
Because I'm typically the last spot for that. So, but then on the flip side, and I don't know when that additional money will be coming. Where did I put it? We got to wait for the governor's signature, and there's an emergency clause. It could be by the end of this week or next week, but we're waiting to see that we're going to get additional $973,000 estimated that money with that. So we got quite a bit of money coming in. So with that,
And that's just for the commissioners.
no, it's for the county.
Total?
It's for the county.
It was, the last spreadsheet I saw, it was $973,000 for the commissioners.
For the commissioners?
Yeah.
That's the political subdivision of Henry County. Yes. Yeah, because the other additional money goes towards cities and all that other stuff.
Yeah, this is
370 the city.
1.5 million, something like that, was all total.
Yeah.
The only thing that changed substantially was the townships. It was based on population, not on entity. So
Yeah.
there's a big change there.
But it goes to the county. It goes, anyway. So, we have a large sum of money. We can give it back, we don't encumber it, we can spend it, there's various ideas what we do with it. Not saying this is the way to go, I'm just saying that these are some suggestions that we could do to recoup some of our costs that we've had. So, there was, we've all been attending these Zoom meetings or informational meetings and things like that. So, some of the suggestions that we could do is there is a thing about admin pay. The information that I've received, and again, I shared this with Michael and Glenn to get a legal opinion on it, because we certainly got to protect ourselves, is that there are some cases that we can do it for admin pay. And our admin pay that we captured currently is around $124,000, where we've sent employees home. And how that is being accounted for is that we budgeted in the county zero amount for admin pay.
Well, that, it would be, more to clarify, is that that's administrative leave.
Administrative leave, yes.
Yeah.
But we budgeted at the beginning of the year zero administrative leave, like we never budget for administrative leave. Because this is a non-budgeted item, that the expenses occurred between March 1st and the end of the year, it is a reimbursable amount of item to do. Again, that's how I see it and read it. I would defer that to our legal to confirm that with that. The other thing that some of the money that, and some counties are looking at or doing too, is that sheriff employees, certain ones, we may be able to get reimbursed for them because they are emergency workers. And in how they define emergency workers, which under some of the definitions of the sheriff's office, those employees could be reimbursed back. I had Ellen in my office run a report, for example, of those that could be possibly reimbursed back just for last pay period alone. And that amount for just that pay period is like $50,000. So
Why were they special employees?
what's that?
Why are they special employees?
As it's defined,
And we open that one?
Or they could wait a couple hours.
Public health and public safety costs, because they're public safety.
Okay.
And public safety employees includes deputies, actually 911 operators.
Okay.
If they are substantially allocated due to COVID-19. In other words, they had to have the extra hours and duties assigned due to COVID-19 because that was a question, I have an email from Stacy that states that.
Okay.
So that's okay, that's good.
That's fine.
But under the Treasury guidelines, revised 921 of 20 emphasizes there is no need to demonstrate, substantiate that a public safety health employee's functions were substantially dedicated to mitigating the emergency. It may presume that public safety health employees meet substantial dedicated tests. So, again, this stuff changes all the time.
Yeah.
But this is a case where here,
Yeah.
last week, 21st, a little over a week ago, you don't have to prove it. It's assumed.
Okay.
So, again, I'm throwing these out there because we have quite a bit of money that we could at least
Yep.
try to capitalize
Some of
and
that, yeah.
obtain our costs.
Yeah.
One final thing, and then I'll heed it to the prosecutor, too, is that the other thing that we've done in our office, and I'm going to put out an email after this meeting, any costs that we do for the virus, I'll just say, COVID, we're going to try to capture. So, for example, in my office, anytime we cut checks for this, CARES funding to other entities, I'm going to take an hour of time of my 2 budgetary employees and capture that. Not only can we do their per hour, but their PERS costs and items like that. And then add that up, that is time spent for CARES.
It would be the full burden hourly rate.
Yes. And then we're also going to take our 2 maintenance guys in the courthouse, and we could add people to this, and we're going to do them an hour a day that they work because they spray down at the end of the day and take care of stuff like that. That cost there will add up, and it's also that we could prove that because there's payroll, this is what they did, this is the time.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, they could get paid overtime, so, I mean, that's not part of it.
but even if we just capture the 1 hour a day,
Yeah.
1 hour at a time,
You
we
could
could at
capture
least
time on
show
that.
that, and, you know, hey, if they do it in 45 minutes,
You
then,
could capture time.
you know,
on
an
that.
hour and 15.
Well, the way we track time on this is we run to the nearest hour.
Yeah. You know, I would go with the adage that we're not gonna be greedy on this, and then if somebody just says, hey, okay, we'll give you the hour,
Yeah.
you know, I can't
Yeah.
spend all day, I'm not gonna pay 2 employees all day to cut 3 checks,
Yeah.
type of thing.
Right,
So
right.
we need the hour. Was that? So, you know, those are some suggestions that are out there but I'll heed that to the prosecutor's office about their determination.
When Kevin, Michael, and I met last week, we talked about some of these things. I had suggested, and Kevin's gonna send out an email, I think we need to document it so that if it is audited, so that we aren't just saying, well, I mean, with maintenance, it's easy to show. They do it after everybody leaves. That's easy to show. But like if Christie's gonna take some, she needs to start making a spreadsheet, documenting,
See.
here's the time I've used. That's why he's gonna send out the email to employees who are doing those kind of things, like when Michael reviews contracts. I think it would be best for us if we ever have to defend it, if we've got documentation rather than just saying an hour. I mean,
Yeah.
going backwards, we can probably estimate, given the future.
Sure.
And I think there's emails that say, going backward, we're covered, but going forward, I think we need to document. The sheriff's department one, before this latest one we talked about, and I'm still not comfortable reimbursing the sheriff because, in my opinion, they don't do enough that we can say it's COVID related. They're doing their job. That is not COVID
Even Mike
related.
had said a number of times is that his guys, they just weren't busy.
Yeah.
And there wasn't anything really COVID related
I just don't, I don't feel comfortable
It's,
advising you to recapture the sheriff's department.
Okay.
Just not,
it goes back to what Kevin said. Substantially dedicated is a hard burden to meet, but then when you have guidance that says you can presume, that's where,
Yeah.
you know, if we need to meet that burden, we don't meet that burden.
Yeah.
If we have guidance that says we don't have to meet that burden, that's the question. That's why there's no clear answer, but I agree.
Yeah.
We can't prove that they're substantially dedicated to COVID-related.
no.
What is substantially dedicated?
I understand, but it's a lot easier to
Yeah.
prove, they're just doing their job. They're not, they don't even do a tenth of anything related to COVID.
Right.
I mean, their tenth is, if they get a call of a rescue run or an accident, okay, now it may be COVID related because now they should be masking up.
Yeah, but that would be the only difference of what they normally do.
Right. And I just don't think it's worth
Okay,
the
what about,
risk of being
yeah,
audited.
what about the two that, you know, Tim and Melissa down there, yeah,
Melissa, yes. Tim, oh, no.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Melissa, yes.
okay,
Melissa, yes, because people were coming in before,
Yeah.
while our thermometers worked.
Yeah.
She was taking temperatures.
Yeah.
I know it's replaced, but before our thermometers broke,
Yeah.
she was taking
temperatures,
temperatures.
yeah, I know she was doing
And
that.
that I can see.
Yeah.
Tim, no.
Okay, you would, okay, well, and that's the division, that's
There was also an
fine.
email too about elected officials too and their pay. So you guys have to figure that one out too.
Yeah,
I don't know how to answer that one.
To me, if we have to be able to defend all this, I'm always erring on the side of caution, because my signature goes on a lot of it, which means I have to defend you all. That's been my whole premise, anytime we've talked to Kevin, anytime Michael and I have talked about all of this.
Yeah,
Are you saying payroll, like, back in March when we left early, or, because isn't that determines the normal budgeted amount?
If we decide, see, and that's the discussion the three of us have had.
You left early and got paid for all that.
Right, well, I'm saying,
That was a normal budgeted.
right, so just the code, like somebody come home with.
Correct.
Well, the verbiage on that administrative leave is that we paid everybody on the payroll. The payroll is to pay you to do your duties. When you went home on administrative leave, not you specifically, when we sent people home on administrative leave, they did not do anything at home. So, because we got to separate, we had some employees that
Yeah,
had
we
the
worked at home.
capability of working at home,
Yeah.
they worked. So, when we sent employees home to be safe, to get out of the situation, to stay quarantined at home, we did not budget to do that. That was a change in their status, work status, as the administrative pay. We could recapture that cost because we did not budget for anyone to go home.
But we budgeted
We budgeted people to work,
And we didn't get that work,
and we didn't get that work.
for those who could not telework.
So that's how the difference is there. You know, so when the courthouse closed at 12:30 for a while, and the employees got paid until 4:30, those 4 hours, if they didn't go home and work, which some did, some didn't, depending on capability, we could recapture that amount of money because we did not budget for them to just go home.
Yeah, the easier one is, like you said, the ones where we sent people home, those are the easier ones to figure out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
There is something in there. If you need me to, I guess the answer is if you come up with an idea and you want me to email Stacy and ask, I'll be more than happy to do that once you tell me how you want to word it, because I have asked a question about admin leave before, and she had that whole big thing that you both read, and so my issue is, if there's whatever you come up with, tell me and I'll email you. She emailed me last night at, what was it, 8:30 when we finished the EMPG questions. And I think you guys got all those too, so. It's just, once again, I'll do what you tell me, just, I don't, this is,
What do I do?
this is, and I've read everything, and so there are yeses and nos to both of them, and I don't know how you're gonna, and I'm not the authority to split the hairs because I'm not the prosecutor or a lawyer. That's their job, and whatever they recommend, I'm gonna follow up and do what they want me to send to Stacy, and then however you wanna do it. But I've asked for everything that they've asked for. I've tried to send to Stacy, and Stacy has come back and answered the question. So, however you wish to deal with it. Just like I asked the question on EMPG. Michael and Gwen reviewed it and said that all EMPG costs are totally allowable under CARES for the match by the county. And then Stacy came back and said, well, if there are costs, now I'm trying to figure out why she did it this way, it doesn't make sense, but she wanted us to split the cost right away, pay it for out of CARES, and then send the other 50% to the EMPG, and then EMPG would come back, and then the CARES would make the 25% match off of that, which makes not a whole lot of sense. So one of the things that I was just thinking of doing and throwing out there is, let's keep it simple. Anything that is not EOC-related costs, so in other words, our wages, anything that we put in the EMPG. We send it in the EMPG.
What's EMPG?
The grant that pays for Nick and Nick. In other words, that is our federal funding that we get through the state that is our match. In other words, pays most of our wages and stuff.
It's something we get every year.
So my thought process is, if it's related to the EOC, that should just come straight out of CARES and don't even send it in. Just fill out the paperwork, send it up in a package, just like we do everything else to get approved. And then all of the other costs that's related to emergency management, we submit, like we normally do, to the state. State approves it, or disapproves it, and then they go through each line item and check it. They say yes or no, and then they pay 50% back. Then the other 50% when it comes back, then we submit our package and say, here, we submitted to the state, they approved this, they paid this, and then the other 50% would come out of the CARES fund as per the guidance. And I think that, to me, would be the smarter, faster way, instead of
Simpler way.
that's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you think, but think about it.
Things hadn't changed, yeah.
Yeah, I think that sounds like a simpler way of doing it, rather than do it.
And we can take care of that, but the issue is, as that email I sent to Stacy, the beginning date is March 1st. So in other words, any expense that's EMPG related, there is no match from CARES Act funding from March 1st back. It can only be after March 1st forward to the end of the year. So that's another way you can recoup. And when you come up with however you decide to do the admin and the other part, let me know. She's already told us, one part on the your time. In other words, time that you spent doing this, and her time, or whoever's time spent doing stuff. She already said that. And I did send an email because the original email was from Stacy. I asked a question about admin. And originally, they said admin was a no.
Let's clarify, cost, not leave.
Excuse me, admin administrative costs, not leave,
Right.
was the first question I asked way back in March, and the answer was no. And so I sent those, Gwen and Michael, that information, because that's the defense, is we were told not to do it. And now they're saying doing it, so that's your defense.
That's our coverage for figuring it.
For March 1st to now. And then I agree. March 1st.
Yeah, it seems like it's not, like, when they change the rule a little bit, it's from this day forward. No, it's retroactive, which.
So however
From the federal
you
government.
guys want to work that out, that's fine. Just all I need to know is, I know I have to write a package. I just need to know more details, because one of the things now that we're also trying to do is all the packages that we submit and a couple that he sent back, we're addressing it where it says in the CARES Act it's allowed. In other words, that way it makes it easier when he's researching, instead of keep on pulling out the latest guidance, it's actually written in the write-up. Oh, this is out of CARES Act line 4, and here's the, so I redid a couple of those, so.
Question, it's about the landfill. Mike ran overtime from whenever we went into quarantine. He worked overtime because it was related, his extra work was related to.
Everybody had time to get rid of jobs?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah.
They were one of the teams that stayed open.
And
I don't see an issue.
And that was,
As long as you can say it was due to COVID-19,
I would have no problem.
then I think it's allowable.
I wonder if you could even do the regular time, because if you say Hancock County was closed, Wood County was closed, and everybody
Yeah.
came us because.
And that's why they got busy, because Wood County closed, and a lot of these people didn't go there,
Extra hours, absolutely.
I don't know how much overtime the other two got.
I don't know. Yeah.
But I know they kept the regular
Yeah.
hours.
I think it would be easier to do all the overtime.
Yeah, yeah,
That would be easy.
yeah.
That'd be an easy one. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I agree, everybody had nothing else to do but clean out, and if he's open.
Yep, oh, yeah. They told me at Oklahoma Metals they were busy too, because people were cleaning out their sheds, and
Yeah.
you gotta have something to do. People,
Yeah.
most of the people wanna do something, they wanna just sit around, so.
Right. I do have one question, and I'm just, because I'm a conceptual person, I gotta see it. Your drawing for, I haven't signed this one for your engraver commissioner remodel in here. I'm trying to conceptualize this picture in here, and I'm not having a.
There's some more to it. Here.
And I don't,
It goes from there
No, here.
over to about here.
and then is the lectern still included, or no?
No, it's.
But the table, what's,
The table,
Here, just.
oh, there, he got it.
Yeah, there, it's on the back of that one on your left hand, there it is.
I was trying to.
I'll get it.
I did if I didn't have a mask on.
Stay. You'd have dove right across there, huh?
That's right, Greg.
You better stay.
I thought about it. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's more like Toledo City Council type thing.
Exactly. It's very similar.
Okay.
There's of course is more rounded.
Yeah.
But still.
Okay.
And what it allows then is everybody's social distance. That table out there is will be like one of these.
When you go in,
now,
yeah.
Okay.
and will allow, it can be moved out of there. The lectern, we very seldom use one, so we can,
That's my expensive one from the EOC, I know,
Okay.
Souders, don't be making
You want
fun of
that,
it.
can I just put it
No,
back
you
in
can
there?
have it.
Well, it's going back to you,
Yeah, well, here, you can have, this even shows,
I didn't have those pictures yet.
shows the rest of the.
Yeah.
Hand me this.
Yeah, that's good.
Hand me that.
All in there.
Okay.
I don't need.
That's part of being so far apart. You know what we need, we should use a golden
The
stick.
center portion, it's gonna set, even for Jen, set something, the short wing here, and then the long wing that way.
Okay.
And then in the center, if you notice, it's just a plain front. We're gonna have a seal, a small one made and put on there.
Okay.
And there's some other changes that.
That's 10 packages that are on the desk in there for your review.
Yeah, that you will see later, is going to be made for.
And the other thing too, as I told you, they reviewed the bid packages, they gave recommendations, and I will present that to you later, what their recommendations are and why. And then the other packages are all with Anna right now during purchase orders. And then,
Is that on the desk on wheels, is that what
Yeah.
it is?
Mhm.
Okay.
Lockable wheels, it would be just similar, summer stuff. Go with the modesty front and that will have raised panels attached to it, and address it has everything.
and if not, I'm gonna go down and finish moving trash and items in the hospitals over into the storage area.
Steve said that, had a good day yesterday.
We moved a lot of stuff, the racks are full. The only thing that's left, there's two things that are gonna be an issue, and, once the award is given, and how soon they wanna start, the racking system, the corral racking system, is still there. We may have to put it outside or put it against a wall, if necessary. And then the last thing is I have to call ERS to get some chemicals removed that was left in different places that we stored, and I'll get those all disposed of. But everything else should be moved today. We probably have one more load to take to the landfill. Because I gotta get Bart to come over and tell me what stuff that health department wants to keep or not keep. And so,
Would it make sense to have Mike bring one of their containers up?
well, we have the one dump trailer that we're using,
Okay.
that we have, the county one.
Being
Yeah,
confiscated or?
it's working well. I got it full right now, so
Okay.
I got more to do, and then the only thing that we have to do is we're building pallets today, and that's because, the very top rack, the pallets can only be 4 foot tall. So we have to, we're custom building the racks now, or the pallets, so they're only 4 foot tall, so we can store them on the very top. But we're almost there. I'm actually amazed at how much we got done. It went really well, and so,
Jen, if you want to stop down and check it out. Did you see it when it was full?
Christy sent me pictures.
Oh,
I
okay.
hadn't been in it.
Yeah,
it was full, it had everything.
it was taking your life in your hands.
Hey, there were illegal fire lanes over here. After that, you're taking your life in your own hands.
Just one other thing, so when Tracy, we have a kind of like a process now, when Tracy's giving us the folders or whatever, and we're checking off the list, we're now putting in our computer when we receive those and when they go out, so that there's no issue of when something is presented or
Right.
approved by you guys before we sign it, or how long it's taking, so that we can all document that, so that we're, if something comes up, hey, where is that, we know that it's
Good idea.
in this date.
Mm-hmm.
Because
Thank you, Craig.
well, there's been some where we've gotten them and it's already
Go on. Keep going.
been on your agenda, and I have to call and say, hey, wait a minute, we
Yeah,
still have
yeah.
it in my office,
Yeah.
or because we just got it in the day after, or
Okay.
something like that. So now we're keeping a list of
Well,
it.
it's a learning process too. I mean,
Yeah.
we're doing stuff from the get-go. We even found that in the paying the bills.
So is making rules for quarantine, learning process. They're still learning from that. I got one other one with this next bunch of money we're coming in. I just talked to CCNO this morning. They're gonna make some changes there, and they're asking each county to throw some money in. And I said we would probably give them some of our CARES money.
Again, they have to do the same thing, they have to put up a proposal like we've been doing. Like,
Yeah,
I
they
think
probably will.
because you say
Yeah.
you're gonna do
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
what is
What is it gonna be?
specifically going
Yep.
to do?
And I can tell them that they'll have to do that. They'll probably do that for each county to
Well, every
give
county is
us
having their own
system, yeah.
system.
Yeah,
Or sub-grant.
but they'll have to, yeah. Would that work as a
You can
sub-grant?
sub-grant, okay, the rule is, and I've seen it, it's just like Homeland Security, you actually have to do, I actually have a document, how you do it. But you're still on the hook when you sub-grant. So in other words,
There's a webinar today or
So
tomorrow.
we're still spending that if you're audited. So that's
Yeah.
why
So have them fill something out like what we've.
Like we've been doing
Yeah,
all the other stuff.
okay.
Get a sheet from Tracy, what we need.
Okay,
Prove your
And have them-
expenses.
Have them fill it
And
out.
probably with that, they can just give it to the 4 counties, 5 counties.
yeah, if they want something like that, yeah.
We should ask,
We don't know how many of them are
we should
gonna
ask
put in.
the other cities, villages, and townships to put a percentage of their money into it.
Yeah.
CCNO, even though the county pays for all that cost, everybody gets a
Everybody gets a use of it, yeah. It's our jail, yeah, so, yeah.
Whichever you tell me to do.
I think you're not gonna get a good response.
Well, I'm sure I'm gonna get a lovely response. But
That's coming,
we'll
Let's
continue.
first figure out.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, that's not
Yeah, and they don't even know for sure what they're gonna ask of each county yet, but I will get those papers from you, Tracy, you got some blanks?
I have
Okay.
plenty of them sitting
And
there.
I'll send some over to Dennis and tell him this is what we require, and, as soon as we figure out the amount.
They're trying to buy additional video equipment,
They're buying video arraignment,
which
they're
is
gonna,
going to have
Non-issue.
fairly long lead time now. Stuff's hard to get.
yeah, well, I suppose.
Especially the way we've been buying them.
Well, they're gonna, part of it's gonna be they're gonna remodel the visitation, the old visitation area, and make that a video arraignment area, because they don't allow visitation, person-to-person visitation anymore. So they're gonna make that into a video arraignment area, and I don't know what's
That's an
gonna.
easy reimbursement, because everybody's doing video arraignment.
Yeah, well, definitely, I think
I should say, not everybody.
but a lot of people are doing it because of the COVID thing.
Many,
Yeah.
many.
Well, what this does for us is, for the future of CCNO, it kind of opens it up if counties from further away, if we have beds available, like I spoke with somebody from a further away county, if they say, hey, we can rent 10 beds, well, we can do video arraignment, it's real easy, and they don't even have to travel back to their county seat until it's, time for sentencing, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Or can they even sentence them while they're on video arraignment?
Each judge can do how they feel comfortable doing it.
Oh, okay. All right, so it would save a lot of gas if you don't have to haul them around all the time.
Gas and time,
Time, yeah.
deputies'
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
Yep.
Bus, we've had, how many miles off our bus?
When we leave.
All right, so we've got.
Okay, so I'll be over there, well,
You
let
can
me get that.
Go ahead and, when it's time, which will probably be towards the end of November, run the reports and get the numbers of overtime, or how do we want to do that?
Well, I'll send out an email today or tomorrow, and we have a spreadsheet that we use in our office. I'll try to send out that as an example.
Okay.
And then we'll ask people to try to capture any costs in the past and then in the future. And I think with landfills, I'll just call Laura out there and say, hey, this is what we're looking for. All your overtime during March 1st of this time period should be eligible. Let's put that on there. Because we want to be fair so that we can document it too. That's where it's going to go back to is,
Yeah.
in a case if we just do the overtime, you're comfortable defending that. But if it's, I'll just say, a different department wants to use half their time, they're going to have to really prove that.
Yeah, right.
I'm always in favor of saying those using other people's money, but it's our money, and there's no reason to get too carried away.
No.
Let's just,
Yeah, it comes down to can we really defend it?
yeah, and we'll start hearing of other counties are doing this, and they're doing that.
Already have. Already have.
And that's fine, that's fine.
Well, and that's the discussion like with the sheriff's deputies and all that. And there are some counties that are doing that. And really the thinking of that is that if you reimburse yourself back, then once you pay yourself back, you're not tied to the restrictions of what the CARES money's for. So since you've already paid out our, say, payroll, and you reimburse yourself back, you don't have those time frames. You can just keep that money and spend it next year.
Or yeah, right.
Following year on whatever you would like for a
Right.
proper public purpose for the county.
If we couldn't spend it all, then that would be something to think of, but if you have everything else budgeted.
And just to follow up to once that bill gets signed, whatever number it is, the emergency clause will get the additional money, but that also will push back our dates, because right now the date is still October 15th, but it's looking like that date, and that's the money needs to be encumbered by that date, will be pushed back to November. November 20th is the date that I heard, yeah. But everything I've seen is that we still need to have it spent by December
Yeah.
28th,
Change it to the
30th.
And you've got until our February 1 to return it
To return it, yeah.
But is that, the cutoff in November, is that just for this would be the latest round?
Everything, yeah. Yeah, and what'll happen is the county will get 25% of the money that's not been claimed. Because some entities in the county have not taken it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So the county will get 25% of that. The other amounts will be distributed amongst those entities that have taken the money and did not return any either. So the key thing is you gotta make sure that it gets encumbered, because if it's not encumbered, you're gonna have to return it, and then you get nothing, then you're done. But we'll work as those dates get closer.
What about, the end of the year, when we close everything, you guys try to extend that a little bit?
Well, at the end of, you're talking about how we usually,
Yeah.
Christie, when we looked at those dates, I think we're gonna end it like on the 22nd or something like that.
No.
But that's gonna be for all departments, but we could leave this open to cut checks beyond that date.
Okay.
It's, the new system that we have, this is much easier to close out POs and get things and budgeted, balanced, and all that other stuff. We're still gonna need time with that. But if we do like everybody for their general, expenses and their, funds, we could shut that off. But this CARES money, we could be able to.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna see a better picture of your monies left and available soon. Because most of the projects are there, we're finishing a few more projects, and there'll be a few more obviously to come, but I think you're gonna have a picture very soon of what you're looking at.
For round one and round two money, the county has $94,000, $95,000 that has not been, taken by the other entities. Some townships, some villages didn't take it.
Yeah.
So we would get 25% of that. So if we just round up, we get like additional $25,000 of that round one and round two money if we have everything encumbered.
And that's-
So that 973,000 is not the end, because we'll get even a little bit more.
Right.
That's what we're planning.
Just
Okay,
Look at it.
all right, I think we got a plan, you're good?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank
That
you.
mask on, so.
This is my very first mask I had.
Was it?
Tony Lanza made it, because she's an OU girl.
Yeah.
Oh, she is?
She ran across country to OU.
Really? I had,
973 is what the commissioners get?
I'm trying to think what Holly took.
Well, that's what the rest of what the
Your daughter's
agency
going
is.
to I'm gonna have to go back through my emails and stuff. See.
Okay,
I thought, oh, yeah, I need to tell Glenn.
This is like the second.
This is what we call.
Okay, thanks, Glenn.
Thank you.
And this is there's $650 million that's to be distributed.
Okay.
But it's gonna be by percentage, so
I know.
the estimated amount that the county will get.
All day, I think a quick picture.
I'm going.
You know what, we have some extra copies.
Are you sure? Perfect, thank you.
And those are just
Just to make sure.
I told my husband, I said, we're going or something.
But this is, now, is this all of it then? That's all of it from that, was
all that we're aware of.
We have that 1.35 billion, that's the last of it.
But you don't have it yet?
I know, it's 2 weeks.
They have it.
No, I just sent a text to see if anybody at CCA knew when.
He said yesterday that he thought it was gonna be this weekend. That's what Andrew said.
It's in the governor, it's on the governor's desk, because it was passed the House and the Senate.
Yeah, she had it last week.
Yeah, Adam Schmieber said, I'm hearing late Thursday afternoon, that you should put the money, or get the money sent out not too long after that.
Because
Yeah, you know,
Kenzie's getting.
You know, he could sign it, and we could have the money besides the Thursday, we could have the money on,
Friday.
in our account on Monday.
Friday or Monday.
Or on Friday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then if that's the case, then we'll distribute it out Tuesday or Thursday to the entities.
So do they need to ask you for it again, or is it the ones that asked you for it the first time?
The ones that asked for it the first time automatically received it, but those that have not asked for it yet, they have until, and this date may change, they have until October 15th.
Okay,
But that date might be pushed back to November.
okay.
Yeah. There's a resolution, there's a.
Hi, Chairman. That might be wet. That might be wet, yeah, she was sprayed that. But it's clean
But
wet.
it's safe, it's out of the.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
but it seemed weird seeing Tracy over there, I used to like being in the center, I'm like, yeah, I gotta stay away. I think they're starting to something, or yeah, but he's
Yeah,
actually.
but we stay away from her. Yeah, she's sicky. She's kind of a
I think they're
sicky.
getting ready to do the hiring, yeah, you say that now, which is not in last couple weeks, so I think they're gonna try to read.
you coming back to one Bill's here, or you just?
I'm gonna stick around.
Okay.
Well, good morning, Shannon.
Good morning.
What do you have for us today?
A quick update, 'cause, I don't know. One day it seems like things will be slowing down, and another day it seems like it's crazy again in each of the units.
In these unprecedented times.
So we just go with the flow.
Yeah.
Like with, workforce development, of course, you know, when it all started, we got lots of unemployment calls, and we can't handle them. We don't even have access to the state system. We tried to see if we could help with releasing PINs when people had to redo their PIN numbers and that. And they thought about it, and then they're like, no, it takes a state employee. And so we're like, okay, fine, and we would just field the calls and we'd try and help these individuals how we could and give them his. And they were actually, all the individuals, when they called frustrated, they ended up, you know, saying thanks, and we're like, oh, we didn't really do anything, but they just wanted to hear
Well, they
something.
need a sounding board.
They got
talk
caught
to-
this up someone.
Yeah.
And that's, they're just like, we can't
Yeah.
talk to anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I talked to someone the other day that said she still hasn't gotten her first check, and she was like a self-employed person
Yeah.
in like the salon field, and I'm like, you should
Wow.
or don't give up on that, even though she's back to work and like there's some money.
Well, with this, was it House Bill 618, is that gonna help at all? Or is it a look good, feel good type?
Yeah, it needs to the system has been broken for a long time, and this just brought it to the forefront.
Yeah.
So it's not.
But they failed to use a whole labor force of people that were available at the county level.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So we were all.
It kept your staff busy.
We were all willing to help. We were just like, let us help with that, because these people were so frustrated, and that was hanging a lot of them up from getting their checks, so.
But it's almost like a state agency was still operating under the previous governor. That the local people were
Keeping
the
it to
enemy.
themselves.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, it did seem like.
They don't know what they're
The
doing.
state
Yeah.
can do it better.
Yeah.
Well,
We weren't necessarily agreeing, because we heard from the individuals,
The
but.
facts are, you know, you had something, a solution. It may not have been the best, but how do you increase your labor force? You take advantage of what you have, your satellite office.
And because a lot of us were still in the office, instead of being, you know, placed at home or elsewhere, so we felt available to help these people with calling, so.
And it would have made a lot more people happier if they could have gotten it done a little quicker.
They
you
just
know.
felt at a loss.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they would start getting stuff, and if they put a little tweak, something a little wrong, it was impossible to fix.
Oh, yeah.
But, so the adult program with workforce is going a little slow, but our youth, they're doing great. They're getting more people on the caseload. We've lined up work experience for them. We had to get a third-party contract for someone who's going to pay them, because we cannot pay these youth for their work experience. And we used to have JobWorks who did that, our whole youth program, but once we brought the youth program in-house, we had to find a contract to do that. took a little while, because it was a small number, so some people didn't want to do it, or they thought there was too much responsibility there. So we found one, we've got it set up, and of course, you know, you have COVID going on, so we're not really sending too many kids out yet. Just a couple that where an employer needs it, everything's safe, and the family feels safe about it, but we'll be ready in the summer then, when the kids are out of school.
The age range of the kids?
16 to 24, because it's our CCMEP program. You could go down to 14, but then you've got, you know, a little more serious laws you have to deal with.
That was the age range some years ago that was really being targeted. And it's still, apparently it's still.
Yes, yeah, we
Okay.
still have our CCMEP program, so they're still targeting that. And you may be hearing something in other counties looking at contracting that whole program out, trying to get a few other counties to go in with them. We'll be keeping it because we have it in-house, we have more control of it. And I just have a good group that's doing it, so, and we know our youth. So we're doing okay there. With public assistance, that, you know, when everything broke loose and before people got unemployment, we did have a lot more food assistance applications. They processed those. Some of those closed once the individuals started getting their unemployment with that additional $600, because that income did put them over. So then when they lost that, they come back on, so we're kind of just up and down, up and down. And if they, you know, start getting their $300 on unemployment, that will knock some more off. The state allowed us to continue certifications instead of doing a recertification for benefits like at 6 months. They're like, let it go another 6 months. We'll just assume these people are all eligible, and they've also said we can do it again. We are not going to, because then you just keep pushing those back, and then you're going to have a huge batch of recertifications to do with the people that haven't been pushed back. So they're like, we'll do it now, because some of those people will fall off anyways with the extra $300 that will be coming. So they're just going to recertify those individuals on a normal way and redetermine their eligibility. So they're feeling pretty good about that. We do have one staff member in that unit that's been out since the end of June on a medical leave, so they are down one staff. So, but we're hanging on.
Keep up with the work.
Yeah, it was, you know, at the beginning, they had a couple of the other ones that weren't necessarily doing casework come in and help do the casework, because in processing it just was on like the supervisor started to panic, like, oh my gosh, we've got more applications in one day than we normally get in a month, and there was like 2 weeks of that. I'm like, okay. And then when she could see that it started slowing down, and then when they got their unemployment, she's like, feel better. But yeah, there was a moment of panic in there.
Yeah, I suppose.
There's a lot of applications, and at that point, we still had that other employee. But, you know, so they got through it. And, you know, now they're kind of just like, we'll go with whatever, because it's changing all the time, how they count income, don't count it, and what they have. So, and they have webinars 3 times a week to tell them how they're supposed to do stuff. So, and child support, they, of course, once we opened back up, got started back with their genetic testing, just kind of some extra protocols in place. So that's been going good. It's hard to believe they've been around. We've been together for 2 years.
Yeah.
I have to think, that was 2018.
Yeah.
2
Seems like
years.
they've been there all the time.
So, you know,
And that,
they fit in perfect with the state.
I think that was a good thing.
Best thing we ever did, I think.
So nice, because, you know, we all work together, we're all intertwined, and it just, it works out really good.
They had some of the nicest offices.
I do. They did get stuff in that corner. I mean, it's enough room for them, but they did have a nice area out there.
But if you're happy, it
Makes a big difference,
And you know, and
then we are happy.
Only had a few hiccups, and it just, you know, we hit it right away, and then we move on, and everything's good. So
that's a credit to your leadership.
Yes, it is.
and they've done good. They did all their document management. So that one area where we have the 2 people in that office, and it was lined with file cabinets, those are gone now. So it's like you walk in and they have a nice room. So they're good. They're doing good.
If you see work orders every so often come, well, there's some more file cabinets to move. What did we buy to replace it?
We have some in our hallway upstairs with children's services. I'm like, okay, we gotta get a few things out of there, and then we'll have another batch in a really wide hallway again.
Is that the document management system from the state?
Yeah, yeah.
Would you tell Jeff about
Well,
that?
We've talked about it for a long time, and Henry County never purchased it. We were like one of the ones that kept saying, no, we're not gonna get it. So it's a huge amount of money. And then, like, your yearly maintenance was like $30,000, like when you had
Northwood, though.
Yeah.
Is it Northwood?
Yeah, we got Northwood, so they got the contract. So then the state decided they were gonna do it and pay for it for the county. So we have it in Children's Services, and actually they also have Traverse, which is their system where they can take it on the road with them. So they'll have the laptops, and they can scan things, and it goes, right into the case, instead of having to take papers back and sign them and return them to the clients. And then we have public assistance and child support. So we're paperless, or we're supposed to be. I see people in Children's Services that aren't quite paperless yet. We're getting there, I have the newer ones that are paperless, the old ones are like, no, I need this.
Yeah, I need this.
Pay the initial, and then they're paying the yearly fees?
Yes, yeah, they are, and originally they started out with just public assistance, and then they went into Children's Services, because we were like, when they chose Northwood, that's gonna be a lot of money.
Better document management.
It is.
system for the-
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
And
No, we were
we
going
had that
to
original
pay part of it.
Butler Center for Children's Services,
And
they,
make it work.
did the conversion for those cases too, so, yeah.
So what did they do with all the old documents? Did they shred them then? And
Some we could shred, some we
Okay.
still had stored,
Good.
but yeah. Yep, we can shred them because the law passed about 3 or 4 years ago
Yeah.
that the court will accept those kinds of documents.
Okay.
So that's just been great. I mean, it's nice not to have we're talking cases, one
Yeah,
case that can
right.
be this big.
Yeah.
They store them in the base
Yeah.
of the house. So it's not real. It's not real. Yeah.
No.
Put on their get 'em.
No volunteers over
Yeah.
You've never been down there? Oh, okay.
Oh, you need,
I can't believe. all
you're going,
these
he's ever done, huh?
Field
Have you ever been down there?
Yeah, field trip.
Our basement?
I have cages down there.
Oh, yes?
The
Oh.
county payroll records are kept in the on-center basement.
But don't worry, no one's gonna go look at them.
I'm more worried about water main breaks and fire and collapsing than,
Yeah.
if anything.
Every time I go down there, I kind of duck, and I don't know why, the ceiling kind of, I think I'm worried about the
Yeah.
cobwebs.
I think it's just the thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of basements or cellars in
Yeah.
Henry County are
Oh.
six and a
6
half
foot,
feet.
yeah.
if that.
Yeah, 6.5, yeah.
I've never seen anything, like any critter down there. No, the bats hide pretty well,
Yeah.
but I've never seen like any rodent or anything. Nope.
That's amazing.
Not even any evidence of it, so.
Yeah, that's amazing.
No, even they don't.
They're afraid, yeah, they don't want to
Somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like, that's not a good place. So it's been really, really great having the document management. And then with Children's Services, speaking of them, as you guys can see, that payroll is like out of this world right now. It's horrible. With the cost, the board income cost. August was over $120,000. And we have, by the end of next week, without any new kids coming in, and with 2 kids going out over the next 2 weeks, we'll have 29 kids in custody. Just a few are with relative placements, and we have 27 in paid placements. A lot of those are over $200 a day, because we have kids that just have some serious concerns. We just took custody of one fella who we went through over a dozen homes that said no, or placements, I won't say homes because he couldn't go to home. Finally got one to say yes, thank goodness, local, not out of state. But he has to go into COVID quarantine for 2 weeks, and that's $750 a day for those 2 weeks,
Why is that so expensive?
because they can get away with it. Because they're the only ones that say yes to a placement.
You're Their Mercy.
Yeah, and I had told the staff, we are not placing there. Do not place anyone there while they have this COVID plan going in.
Yeah.
And then when you're down to, they're the only ones that will say yes. We're like, here we go. So I'm proud of them for not having to do it, for the last 4 or 5 months.
Yeah.
But yeah, we are at their mercy.
Are you gonna be okay in there, or are you gonna run out of money?
We're doing okay.
Yeah, and that's
We
really
have, I don't think we'll need more than our usual.
Okay.
Because we did get more from the state and,
Okay.
Well, that was one question I was gonna ask, are you gonna need less this year?
Huh.
You've not asked for anything yet, that's not typical.
I know, I'm really nervous.
So,
Because if you're
just
looking at
to
100.
get what you are allowed to doesn't mean you have to.
Right, right.
And in a time that we may have to cut some things in the
Right.
budget.
Well, usually it's like
But when-
October when you start.
Yeah, but when you're looking at, a lot of times we're 85,000 and now we're 120,000.
Well, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
you asked for it before, typically before now, and you haven't.
No,
And you
because
receive more money
we
from the
got more
state.
from the state.
It's
so-
always a good thing to,
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
You should spend money less.
we waited
Yeah.
because we had more money from the state, they did provide
good.
some
Good.
so,
for our,
so a challenge would be is to ask for less.
Yeah.
thanks for that challenge.
We appreciate departments coming in and asking for that.
You didn't get an answer.
We had one elected official, when she sat down, she reduced her budget by $1,500 right out of the gate.
Yeah.
She said it would never happen again.
Okay, I'll
So,
just put my.
did you notice she's putting her mask back on because she's mouthing something?
No, that isn't happening. I have to stay healthy. I've been riding in 12 days. Don't give me anything. So, yeah, we're not gonna ask for more than we need, so.
But the challenge is to ask for less. than-
And I just said, I'll ask for $500 less, make it 50 if you keep questioning me.
I won't cut the check, so.
Then you'll have some kids staying with you. We can't pay their bills.
Oh, wait, no, that's the payroll I won't.
Then you'll probably have a ride on your hands.
We've already had somebody picketing in front of the courthouse.
No comment there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I did look, we looked through the payroll, reporting home payroll, because I'm like, let's see if we can be transitioning some of these kids. And I'm like, no, they're all in legit
Yeah.
tiers in their placement right now. So we just, we did move one out of LHS into another placement that's a little less per day, like $50 less per day. So
Yeah, that's
we're hoping.
Yeah.
That helps.
Yeah.
Not a lot, but it helps.
Yeah.
I know, but, and we got one successfully leaving, she's doing great. And then another one that is doing good, and he was $200 a day, so he'll be successfully leaving.
Sad part is there'll be somebody in to fill their spot. Out there.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
And it's sad that there is
Yeah.
someone to fill that.
Yeah, that is.
That's right.
That's what's sad.
Yeah, because this individual that we just got, that we had a quarantine, he was in the hospital for almost a week. And just everybody was saying no, even some of the hospitals, Toledo was saying no, they couldn't take him, or he wasn't qualified for their services because he would need more, and oh my gosh. So, it didn't work out.
Looking to the future, Shannon, what, if there was a solution for multi-county, what do you think that would be?
Oh, that was the other piece I was gonna talk about too. Well, we've talked before about like emergency placement. We would like some place where we can just, you get the call with the kid, like this guy that we took. Where do you put them when you don't even know everything about them yet to know what would be a good placement for them? So something like that where you have a crisis placement. But we do, 1 o'clock today, we have a phone conference. Several of the Northwest District counties want to get together and kind of, I don't want to say strong arm, but show a common front to the providers. Because I think at times we've found out like they might be charging different fees to to different counties. Not always, because we checked on LHS and they were charging us the
Yeah.
same they were charging other counties. But, so that we could say, you know what, we're not gonna agree to the $750 quarantine placement.
Yeah.
And if, you know, they look at, you know, 8 counties and they're like gonna lose placements from them if they don't come to some kind of agreement with them, where we could actually negotiate better.
Yeah.
You know, when you try and negotiate, they're like, okay, well, these are our rates, and we'll keep them the same as they are this year. We'll negotiate more next year. Yeah, so we're trying to do it together instead of each county doing it separately, so that we can make sure we're all getting the same and trying to get it lower.
You know, in the future, if we would have enough space, maybe they could open up one of the wings at CCNO. We could build that into a place to put kids like that.
It continues, we're gonna need quarantine space, and that's just, if the JDC, often, Wood County handles, they handle diabetic children better than we can here, and I know, and I'm not
And
sure.
specialties.
Yeah, and, so if, you know, that would be, because to think, well, I've got to go to jail, no, you're in jail wherever you're quarantined at, you have no,
And where
no freedom, and
we had that opportunity with the previous DYS director that was there just for a little bit. And he had thought about that, and, you know, there was a couple of us counties that said, we would be all for it. If you could do a residential wing, you know, it's not that strict lockdown, so you can't say that they're incarcerated, because there's different codes for the state on that, correct?
Right.
But you could say it's a state placement, and it can still be a locked placement, just when you have a locked fence around it. That would help, because a lot of us would use it. We just, I mean, the emails go around constantly, where we've got a 16-year-old with this. Does anybody know of a placement? And then you try and send, you know, them ideas, and they'll be like, oh, we tried them. They said, no, we tried them. And so, there would be counties that would utilize it.
At this point, if you can't do it, even in the state of Ohio, your only other option is like Lucas County and Wood County, they ended up in Missouri. Cliff, which has a child.
Licking County had one in Florida too. They were able to then, after a couple months, bring the child back and found a placement closer. So then you're flying out there every month. Yeah, that's why I said I was worried about the kid, but when we can find a local placement.
Yeah, at least if you could get another child placed somewhere where another Ohio county is, you could share, you know, 4 and 8 months.
Yes, and we have that multi-system group discussion too, trying to find recruit some more foster homes. Unfortunately, right now, a lot of kids could not use a regular foster home.
That's what's been tough. We talked about that over the years. It's unfortunately have some issues that require special care.
And we do try, you know, to make sure the placement is fitting of them concerning their issues. Because we have a couple of specialized placements, because we do want them to improve and then be able to downgrade to a regular home or be a better citizen once they leave care. So it's not like we just put them somewhere to house them. We want to make sure they're getting treatment that's appropriate for their concerns.
It's almost like a stepped approach.
That's what we're
You
trying
need
to do.
intensive treatment. Well, we'll start out, probably this quarantine thing is going to end. So you start out with quarantine, which is basically you're locked down. Then the next step is beginning the first step of treatment, and everything, restrictions keep loosening up on the way to where possibly your final step is into a regular
That's our hope.
Foster home, and then when you age out, whatever support's needed to get you going.
So, I mean, we try and make it work.
So ideally, it would be having a facility where you could do that.
Yeah, it has to be some kind of residential facility where they can provide, treatment there or transport them somewhere close for treatment.
For treatment.
So, yeah.
Is there any type of facility like that that exists around here?
Marsh Foundation in Van Wert County,
And how do they get their funding?
from the people that they place there.
So they don't have like a levy or like a... Or
That foundation, no.
No. That was founded by a real rich family, wasn't it? I think the Marsh Foundation.
It could have been started like that. They have like little pods, separate pods, and they have a living community.
If you have something like that in multi-county, then you probably have to do it by a multi-county levy or something like that.
Yeah.
Well,
No, they get their funding from
I know,
places.
Commissioner Nyson and I talked about it, he was the finance county commissioner, and there hasn't been any discussion with anybody since. But, the issue continues with children getting more and more serious.
Yeah.
So you're looking at,
Yeah, that's-
even if you could think it's a viable option and begin to kick it off, by the end of the year, if you really spend money on planning, you're still 3 years out from opening a facility.
Oh, yeah.
And possibly by then it's too small already.
Yeah, right, that's
So
the
how do you,
problem, yeah.
so how do you build it where it could be easily expanded?
Yeah. Of course, by building a facility like that, your other prices would go down because they're gonna wanna keep patients, so they're gonna lower their
Now they
prices.
got competition.
Now you got competition, yeah.
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 That's why I'm curious, like that $750 a day. Like the federal government would just say, well, this is all we're gonna pay you. But we don't have that authority to do that.
No, and so like if they're what's called 4A eligible, that's a federal fund that will come and reimburse us a little bit. You see that when that comes in, if they're eligible, because they only pay a certain dollar a day. And that's why we're doing this multi-county thing, and they know they have us right now. They know they do, because we have so many kids.
It's almost like you should be able to do like a healthcare, because in some ways you could say it's healthcare. Like Medicare only pays so much, Medicaid only pays so much, but then they set the rates for this because they're...
We have asked the state before, get in and help us, and they're always like, it's the county, you're a county agency. So we asked for help, and there's a possibility with this administration, we'll get some of that help, because we've also asked them for help with adoption subsidy negotiations, because those can go haywire. There's no set amount, they just can't have more than what their foster care payments were. So, some of these people are like, well, I need this much to take care of this child because I don't want to change my lifestyle. And the state needs to step in and at least give us some kind of spreadsheet so that we can say, yeah, this condition warrants this condition warrants this.
Yeah.
Nope, it's a free-for-all, so it's different in every county.
Yeah.
This governor, Governor DeWine, if it hadn't been for this fun and frolic we're having right now, in quotes, but has been pro-local government. He, during his campaign, I don't know how many times he and DeWine met with the county commissioners board, and he would come in and have questions for the county instead of us questioning them. He was already prepared to come and let's have it happen.
Oh, yeah, he's definitely.
And so we saw in his budget that he made a difference in his first budget. Even maybe childcare wasn't quite where it should be, but he made significant inroads into it. So I would think.
He's very interested in county government, because right before this whole lockdown, what happened with COVID, like the end of February, 16 of us directors went up and met with him in Houston about our able-bodied adult without dependents, food assistance required individuals, and the higher unemployment rate, and of course that kind of went to the side now, so. But yeah, so he cares, and he does with the kids too, he cares about the kids, and that's why we got that good amount of money, so.
Maybe after you get together with the other directors, maybe, we can chat, but it might warrant having representative groups and possibly Senator McCulley, because now we're starting to look at the next biennium budget. And
Representative Hoops is real good about the kids in care and how things can be improved in that too.
Yeah.
Because we've had a couple of discussions.
And they can possibly, short of, well, we really don't have any money. If we did, how do we move? And
Yeah.
it's important.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see something to help,
Yeah,
number one, to help our troubled kids.
yeah.
Not criminal trouble, you
Yeah.
know, just dependency,
Yeah.
neglect, from
Yeah.
use,
Yep, that's what you want.
and how do we help them?
Yep.
Yeah, and if we could do it locally and know that there's someone that's going to say yes when we call, you know, granted, there's going to be some places that just wouldn't be appropriate, but so that we know we have someplace to use them. I mean, you hear horror stories. I was in emergency room all night with a kid one time because we couldn't place them in, and other ones, they're like in their lobbies with the kids.
Yeah.
I don't want to see that.
Under 18, 13, 14, their life's on the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's happening?
That'd be a terrible feeling, I would imagine. Unfortunately, I never was there, but.
Yeah, because we have two right now that came in, and I know that they're going to turn out great. That things are just going to work out for them, and I love seeing when they're in and stuff like that, so.
It's getting them into an environment that they can excel.
Yeah, right,
You know, they
right.
are worth something.
Yeah.
Yep.
Better stop, maybe stop.
Yeah.
So, I know, but if you, like the other day when the two came in that I just adore, and I could hear him like say hi to one of the caseworkers that he very rarely knew just from the beginning. He's like, "Hi Tina, how are you?" And I'm like, "Oh, they're here." He's just cracking me up.
That's good.
All right, anything else?
Don't think so.
Another one, 8 months.
Yeah.
Stranger in person, yes,
No.
I know. Well, we can get back, well, this is normal life right now.
Yeah. I'll be in touch one of these days, because by the time you go on the radio, we'll be on.
Oh, yeah, I think, they wanted to do something to Connie Parker mentioned something, but then she mentions this, so I don't want to do the radio spot, about reminding people how to report, adult, abuse for.
Anytime, if you're ready. Are you gonna be the speaker, or you gonna be?
I kind of, you gotta try to find something.
Would you want to help, Bill?
They don't want to hear my voice all the time, so we'll
Yes,
find
I
somebody
do.
else.
Yeah, well, whoever, I'll call you.
All
Yeah,
right.
but you got time limit on that by chance, or
No,
About
no,
just-
it's just a reminder.
reporting, okay.
All right.
I'll put you down on the list.
It's on your list.
And
Yes,
There it
oh,
is.
she doesn't have spray yet. You might want her to spray.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No,
the
okay, I
last
usually-
time Bill walked in, he had a garbage bag.
Dad.
Had it in the garbage bag.
So he's just finding worms all over the place. Pretty much the tip.
This is some new jewelry we created for, and so thought the girls might enjoy this. So let me grab a few more things. We'll be right back here.
Shannon.
Yeah, me too.
Jill or Ray or Jolene. Jill.
You got the key?
Jill talk.
Oh, yeah.
Just so when it's come back, I can remember.
Check going over is one thing, getting back.
How you doing? Good, Bill, how are you? Oh, good. It's been a busy time, but yes, that's what I came here for. That's right. I wanted to just set these in different spots so you can get an eyeball on them. Yeah. And, oh, yeah, here we go.
Better bag.
She's back.
Wow. I'm gonna sit right here. You don't want to be known for that. I finally found someone with a bigger head than Kevin.
Yeah. I don't even hear your face.
Feel
You didn't have to lift weights to get that one
Oh,
over
yeah,
there for 100 years.
That's the original?
This is new one.
Oh, it's the new one.
Yeah, there's the old one.
Oh, my. That's heavy. I'm gonna go take some pictures.
This aluminum?
No, it's stainless.
Stainless.
Yeah, we did a little bit different design because we think it's gonna hold up in the green. They had the pans that actually have a little bit of a curve to
Oh,
them,
I can walk it.
but it's because they didn't have a way to make something that was light and was going to have any strength to it. So this way, we can have it a little stronger using the stainless and, of course, this, as she holds it, will be attached to her skirt. Okay. So it stabilizes it that way. So, let me get this up here.
Yep.
So you can see what we've been doing. My show and tell day.
Yeah.
So,
You brought it back.
good morning.
Good morning, Bill.
Have we officially started?
Yes, we're officially ready to go.
Okay. So I brought a few pieces in so that you know that we aren't just sitting back waiting for, something to happen. It's happening, and of course, each aspect of this takes a lot of designing and,
Yeah.
dreaming and how we want to do this and bring her back so that we're trying to do a lot of these things so it'll never have to be replaced again. I mean,
Right.
literally never
Yeah.
again. Any time in the foreseeable future. I
Yeah.
can see a lot of what we're doing being there for another 150 years.
Yeah.
Okay? So that's kind of my vision of the things that we're creating.
Uh-huh.
And we're getting lots of assistance from the Pottmeyer engineers.
Okay.
And so the methods that we're using, we're researching and trying to develop some things that are unique to this particular restoration, as well as using some regular techniques. So to start out with, I'm just really proud of this particular piece. The metal worker that we have that's basically in charge of a lot of these specialty repairs created this brooch which sits on a necklace, and the necklace was strung like this on a wire.
Okay.
And so the wire will go through the back of this, and it's stainless, and we have new balls that have been created to take care of that whole thing. So this will get some kind of maybe a gold on it.
Around it, yeah.
And of course, we're working on the color palette that we would use on all these different items for your approval. And then we're going to consult with the Gady Zerny architects out of Cleveland. And we'll have Dale put his stamp of approval on these things as we move along too.
Okay.
Since he created the last color palette, we're trying to stay within some of those colors
Some of the, yeah,
used
right,
on the rest of the courthouse. So if that would be suitable to you, that way that we know that there's some correctness, so to speak, and the colors that we're using for the period of time that we would be trying to recreate. And
I like transparent.
You don't get it very often.
Oh, yeah.
President's done pretty impressive.
Classy, yeah.
Given the age of that.
Well, that's the thing that's necessary to rotate. Very good. As far as things happening at the courthouse, first I wanted to ask if you have any criticisms of anything we have happening, whether it's the fencing, the signage, the ramps, the way we're working. Have you had any problems and complaints at all with what we've done?
Well, we had one about a wheelchair or something, but the ramp, remember that one?
That was real early on before Ellen,
Yeah.
and that's been resolved.
Okay.
There's no issues with
That's the one on the back of it.
There's no issues.
one day before, it was just maybe a day or two after you set the one container on the east side of the courthouse.
Yeah.
It was like a Friday morning, and I was standing out in the parking lot talking with Eric, and Ellen pulled in.
Mhm.
And I asked Ellen, and said, and that we talked, and she assured her that we would make sure that it was very, very easy for her to get in the courthouse. And if she felt more comfortable, she could even use one of the front, on the west side of the building, one of the parking places.
Yeah, she's not expressed anything to me, and I've asked her.
Okay. Yeah, we've been trying to.
Bill, I lose my car because you took my reserved parking spot, and I don't know why I always park it when I walk out.
Well, maybe get another spot for it.
Maybe you can take a cab to work.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, everybody's finding the spot to enter the courthouse. We still have a little bit more definition we're gonna use for some arrows on some original signing we had from a couple years ago that's on the old drinking fountain building.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna highlight that. That's being printed now. I don't have the happy 200th birthday banner up yet, but we'll have that up. And then also, we're moving toward the end of our work season in the next 4 or 5 weeks.
Yeah.
So there's no sense in trying to use special materials with bonds and everything necessary if it's cloudy all day and it doesn't really warm up enough for us to do anything that would really be a good bond and a good fix. So what I wanted to suggest today was basically that we look toward having a meeting around the 15th of October and discuss some of the things that are going on and where we are ending up and how much more progress we've made on some of the reconstruction of some of the different items. So if we could get something on the calendar, if that would be appropriate for you guys.
Christie's looking at it right now.
Bill, you said about 4 to 5 weeks.
What time would you like, Bill?
Are you talking taking the fencing down, or is the fencing gonna stay like through the winter?
Oh, no, I wouldn't put you through that. It's gonna make it too difficult for everybody to get around. Our plan is to pull all the fencing, return everything to normal. We realize that because of the positioning of the box on the east side, where the county employees walk in, it'd be really difficult to do shoveling and plowing, and it keeps people from being close to the building. So we'd take that unit out. We were wondering if we might be able to store that someplace, maybe on county property at the county garage, or I had initially brought them in and we painted them and took care of all the repairs on them at Gherkin Materials. Fred H. Gherkin. Out there on the Oakwood Avenue. So, I think maybe we can work something out with them. The one on the west side, I think, is just off the beaten path enough that they'd still be able to do the plowing necessary, get around it. We'd pull the ramps, store the ramps inside the unit, close it up for the winter, if that would be okay with you. And that one sits off the sidewalk enough that I think Eric and his team would be able to do the appropriate snow removal and everything there without any issues.
I don't, you all right with that, John?
I was just trying to think of a place, another place to store that, but, or at the fairground, you could store it there, There's a lot of space there. We'd have to make sure it's according to what they want, but
Well, we can put it back far enough in there that people in the neighborhood aren't even going to see it.
Back over the fence someplace,
But we have Gherkins haul those, Gherkin Materials, have local boy services, and we use those all the time to haul our lifts around. So, we can just have it delivered and have our crane pull it at that point. And, no problem.
Is the hand done? No?
The hand still has to have a little more smoothing, but we have taken care of all the pinholes. I think that that's really important, that, you know, you see some of them up here, yeah, we left some of these to give you some idea of how it's just, if you look inside it, if you look up through here, this is the way the whole thing looks. And so every one of those has to be taken care of, all right? So it's just a massive job of putting this thing back together.
Is that like a lead? Is that like lead metal, or what kind of metal is it?
This is zinc.
Zinc.
Yeah.
Zinc. You had said it last time, I forgot, that's why.
Yeah, and zinc is very malleable.
Yeah.
And it's nice to work with, and that's why the sculptor chose this material.
Sure.
I've done a lot of research into the individual who actually did these things.
Yeah.
And so I'll be able to bring more of that to you as a report and kind of a feature for future appreciation of what's let me get out of the way here. And isn't that great? And that's the one that holds the sword. That's why she's missing a digit, because the sword comes through there.
Okay. Wow.
Yep. 4 fingers, like cartoons.
Well, if you got 4 fingers that are tough, you only need 4.
Watching Christie. Zinc, and what was the other number?
This is copper. All this is copper patching. This has all been replaced at some time or another. And so what we try to do is just work with the copper, because electronically, there isn't going to be any electrolysis between the parts, because they're really not having a charge of their own, so to speak. You know, you wouldn't be able to put aluminum against the zinc or the copper. That wouldn't work. There'd be an oxidation.
There'd be an oxidation problem,
So we have to be real careful about what we use.
So copper works with zinc then?
Yeah, it will. And
the
the stainless works with it also.
Stainless, okay.
So, just so you understand the process we're going through, Bob, I don't know whether you actually
I did. I looked at it when you held it up like that. Oh my God,
really amazing.
A lot of holes in there.
It looks pretty solid from the outside.
Yeah. Wonder what those holes are. Did they get shot at?
No, this is all rust.
Just rust.
It's all deterioration.
Just deterioration.
And that was in a spot where it was actually in part of her sleeve. She had a real fancy sleeve that came around and draped over. And so that was kind of hidden in there.
Yeah.
And who knows how many birds live there. And bats, bugs, bees, whatever. And anyhow, that will be, the way we're doing this is we're trying to close off some of the areas, and we'll make a shadow in the painting, not in the part, okay? So that's going to eliminate a lot of these little folds and tucks that really, it's where they pieced it together, where they solder together back in these little spots, but it's really not going to benefit us trying to solder or fasten that back in a really tight spot. We need to build a bridge across there to strengthen all that. We'll fasten it from the inside and the back.
And then paint it accordingly.
And then paint it, dark color.
That's neat.
So, one of the things that we have to look at is trying to build something that really works up there with drainage. And one of the biggest problems that has occurred over the years is you can see how these are the wings that sit below her and sit up this is on the hip, where it's actually a curving bell tower. They have curved, massive pieces of curved angle iron inside that had to be heated and rolled. And then this has to follow not only the pitch of that curve, but it also has to bend the other way. So I mark these when I take them off. I use the 2 best that we had on the west side, where everybody would look at the courthouse the most when we redid this in '97, but I mark them top, so it actually sits like this, and it actually has to bend around a double curve, so it's a rolling offset 2 directions. So the piece can't be rigid, it has to be flexible. So we're recreating these with a mold process, where we actually create this out of the same product that we glue a lot of things together with, and it's a urethane product. And so this has only gone through its first application of the urethane. This whole thing, every aspect of this will be covered with this urethane then we shoot a release product on it, then we put it in a pan that's created just for this, that's about this thick, and then we pour a urethane self-leveling caulking on this, and then we pull it off when it's cured, and it creates a part that we can actually take up there and bond right back on the building again, but it bends, okay?
Yeah.
And it fits tighter, and water won't be able to get behind it and rot everything out behind it, because that's what you can see is happening here on this.
Well, it'll be a poly then, it'll be like a polyurethane.
Yeah, and we'll fasten it on with a number of fasteners that can actually be found and taken loose, and you can take it off when you want to do restoration of any metal around it. But this is what happens is, these swirls, I mean, they're really great, I love them. I love the definition of that swirl, and I'm sure that it has some significance with the way it's made with these beautiful shapes, but it catches water, and those were soldered back in there, and of course, when that water freezes, it pushes that soldering apart, because it's actually sitting on an angle kind of like this. This.
Good way to catch water in there, isn't it?
And you can see exactly where the rust started coming out and streaking down here and eating holes in it. And then we just added a couple pigeons. Voila, junk. So anyhow, this is the first effort to make this one so that, and I think you'll be able to follow the process here pretty easily. I still wanted to be able to make it look like it had the swirl, so we're leaving this defined, but the new piece is not going to have that deep area, which is hard to seal and keep water out of. So as, this is the top, so as the water comes down the face of the building, these are really sharp. You gotta watch it, there's stickers all over, they're nasty. But anyhow, as the water sheds down the building like this, and it's pitch and bill up there, you know, it's going to rake down over this, but not really have a pocket where it can stop. But we still left a lot of the definition here by the way that we brought this up in here and out. Okay? So basically, we're creating drainage on something that's been a problem for 150 years. So that's, there's a right and a left. So we have two patterns. I picked the best that there are up there to bring down. And those will be in progress for a while. It takes a little while for them to cure once you get it all set up and look for it, and they will have to be trimmed out, and there'll no doubt be some color of gold. We're not sure exactly which gold yet, but that's going to be part of this palette of colors that I'm going to give you to look at and approve. And then this will be, no doubt, some darker color, whether it's darker gold, or, and then there'll be some highlighting in here. We'll probably, because the building has so many beautiful details that were kind of broad strokes in the last painting.
Pick that up, I'm gonna hold it.
And we like to do a little more of the highlighting so that you can appreciate more of what's really up there.
Pick it up right in the middle.
And so this stuff is extremely durable. You can see how I fixed these the last time. The parts were all junk. So what we did was we bisected these things into parts, pieces. And then we put them on a new backing so that they would have some substance to them again, right? And kind of glued them all together. So this is what we did 22 years ago. And this is what we came up with the inherent problems 22 years later. Not bad for a first try. The second try is going to be the one that lasts for the next 150 years.
But I think they're...
So these are the details that we're trying to follow to not have this part of your budget for a long time.
We will.
So, one other pretty interesting thing that we did, and the lady is really taking shape now. We're using a lot of some stuff called DevCon, and it's DevCon, a certain variety. And basically, it's hard enough if you're a machinist, you can build it an inch deep, and then you can drill it and tap it.
Okay.
I mean, literally, you can drill it and tap it, and it's structural.
Okay.
So, you remember before, she had a lot of lines in her face and her head. And like right now, the crown is no longer collapsing. This part here when you weren't here, was completely opened up.
Yeah, that was
rotted away.
that was good.
And this whole thing just needs to be fine sanded, shaped, a little more effectively, because we just broad stroke this stuff in and then we grind it down to the way we need it.
What's it called?
DevCon.
DevCon.
Yeah, it's a really high performance, fiberglass product.
Comes in like in a tube or something?
Yeah, it's extremely expensive.
Yeah,
It's
I
just-
it is.
You can build it and drill it the same day and have it back in position.
Yeah.
So,
The line in her nose has been.
we've filled that, fixed that. We're working around here. She has a little dimple right here yet that we're trying to get taken care of. And you have to create tools to do this, because you just can't,
Yeah, right.
there's just no easy way to get a hold of that and do it without damaging it, so, we're working through those things.
Yeah.
Now, on her skirt, she had a decorative group of things that look like these pieces here that we recreated, okay, and this is how they kind of lined up, if you can imagine, and this was the condition of all of them.
Yeah.
And so I just brought one in that we just peeled off because we're getting it ready to have some of these things applied. These don't have the countersunk holes in them for a screw that will go into the metal and be bolted, from the backside. But these are malleable. These are made of lead. We actually built it for them, and we made 35 of these.
Okay.
And they're actually something that you can heat and bend.
Okay.
And then we'll create this design along the bottom of her robe.
Mm-hmm.
She has this really nice gown that she wears. And they'll actually be all 33 of them will all be linked together and bonded on with adhesives as well as screws.
Yeah.
And that will strengthen it. Then we'll actually build a armored area
around it,
of heavy, go ahead and pass that around.
So those pieces
You
were
kind of
good.
get a feel of what's going on.
Yeah, with it being that heavy, that would give it a lot more strength there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what we do, a very discreet way of trying to strengthen her.
That's the handle,
Anyhow, this is the way the jewelry goes together, and before this would pierce through the brooch that she had, and so this one will be a stainless steel welding rod that actually goes through here, is strung right through here.
Yeah.
This tool here is actually put on with an Allen screw, okay? And I thought it was pretty clever.
Yeah.
It's really fun stuff to try to figure out.
Did you tap that red part? Did you tap it and then screw it in?
Oh, yeah, that's all set up so that can be replaced, changed, whatever in the future.
Yeah.
We're trying to make it so, and that's really what restoration's supposed to be. If you can't undo it, you haven't done it right. That's the.
Must be it right there.
There's no other way to put it than, if we can't go up there later and undo all these things and redo it, we failed our job.
The brooch?
Because this is gonna be around a long time. So.
That brooch was square last time.
And we'll document all that we're doing. We've been taking pictures and so forth. And,
It was colored, so it's
there's one thing that I'd like to mention. I've got a list here of things I really wanted to go over. We have all the paperwork that, Columbus, wanted on all this taken care of. Everything is nailed down now. And so, I think, we're set to go there. We have lightning protection. That's a temporary system. You're going to see some stainless steel rods up on the top of the four corners of the platform up there. And those rods are connected to a cable that goes all the way to the ground, and a ground rod driven on the east side of the courthouse where we brought all our fire protection, water blasting lines, and other stuff. We're putting our electrical box in. We're putting our major electrical box in from the electrical box out to the stairway up there. I'd like to invite you all to come up sometime and see what we're doing up there so you understand the detail of what's happening there. This winter, we're kind of hoping that we can get around to ordering soon the windows that will replace the windows that are around that lower section.
Right below the clock there, right?
Well, below, yeah.
Below, the next one below.
Yeah,
Okay.
and those are meant to actually be removable, and they will be removable. Right now, there's only 2 out of the 8 that are removable, and it
Okay.
makes it really difficult for us to be able to rig different places around. Like if a guy's going out to do some roof maintenance, he has to have a safety line.
Yeah, right.
Safety line has to be run
Right.
from a window
Yeah,
that's not lined up with where it's at.
right, right.
You know, we want to make that happen.
Make
for that
it easier,
reason.
yeah, right.
And then, we just got the rigging in. We have a lot of equipment that's going up there yet. That's gonna be the legs that actually run the drives, that actually carry the scaffold platforms up and down.
Okay.
We're not using cables this time, we're using a square leg, 4-inch square, that has a drive tooth system on it, has a
Okay.
gearbox that locks into that, and these actually lift up and down with gear motors, small electric motors that drive it up and down.
Okay.
And that also helps support the rack at the top.
Yeah.
So we want that there for the winter, you know, with the storms. That's gonna happen over the next 10 days. The heavily rusted areas on the steeple, I'm gonna be going through personally and making sure that all those are dug out, repaired, and ready to go for the winter, so we don't have any leaks of any kind, okay? And then, the dormer rooms above the clock faces, above the 3 clock faces, will be coated with a special coating before winter, so we don't have any more pigeon deterioration, because we love those peaks.
Yeah.
So we'll do our best to put something up there that makes it uncomfortable enough, maybe they'll move to some other spot.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I've been playing around, I don't know whether anybody noticed, but I've been playing around with the lighting and the bell tower, just for the fun of it. Over in Wood County, they kind of gave me carte blanche to just do a lot of things when we were working through the years. So the lighting of the courthouse,
See you, Kevin.
the lighting of the courthouse over there in Bowling Green, they had Sylvania come in with one of those big monster light trucks, and they shined some lights up, and they didn't really do a more specific lighting of places that really do the Wood County Courthouse, that ambiance that it has.
Yeah.
So the commissioners got with me and said, we don't really like what they provided, can you do something? So we took some football lights up 1,000 watts first and attached them in a couple places, and then we tried some smaller lights where we needed a more refined light. And we got it to the way you see it today, not only on the outside, but also behind the clock faces.
Mm-hmm.
So we put an art glass in those clock faces, and then we recreated the clock faces as you have these new ones here in the podium now. But we never got to a point, I think maybe if you dream back about the way the courthouse looked before the '97 restoration, I had put in lights around at each one of the Roman numerals. And it just illuminated each one of the Roman numerals, so you could read the clock easier at night. Those lights were like a 40-watt bulb.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we pulled all that out, and we had this grand idea that we just put in 4 special high-pressure sodium lights up above, and it would flood down, and it would look like nice, even light, and it did. But it didn't really give it a lot of pop that you need to be able to see the clock at night.
Mm-hmm.
So right now, I figured out with the lighting I put in, there are LED 2-bulb fixtures, 4-footers. They sit down low, they float up, and then I've taken LED small bulbs and I put them at each one of the points of the clock points. And so it shows the Roman numeral, and it gives it a little bit different tone, because that's more of a gold light on the little spots. And I kind of like it, but maybe you'll think it's too much, I don't know. But I can get them started again, I shut them off over the weekend. And but if you want to run by a certain date, I can have them all set up for you, and you can see what you think. I just went ahead and bought some things that I thought would be okay to test with. It might not be the final lighting, but this is not anything that we had talked about, and it's nothing I'm holding you to. if you like it and you want it to happen, I can make it happen, and it'll be safe, and it'll be very low energy, just like the rest of the lights that you put up around the courthouse. So, you know, certainly isn't gonna cost a lot of money to have it showcased like that.
Right.
So, that really is all I have here, other than, you know, when we might have our next meeting, and I would prefer if we could do it somewhere around the 15th, the 17th,
9:30, 15, okay.
9:30 to 15th. Sure, that
Yep.
sounds great. All right. And do we want to have the meeting here, or would you like to come to the courthouse and do a little tour up through what we're doing? I don't know whether you feel comfortable there or not, but, you know, climbing
Why
up.
don't we do it at the courthouse?
Yeah, sounds good to me.
All right.
It won't be, I think on the 15th, it's not gonna be overly warm, and
No.
Yeah,
It
it's,
should be nice.
I'm sure gonna be.
it would be perfect good to see.
Yeah, yeah.
And we have the two windows, one on the north, one on the south, open at that lower level right now. It's just get a lot of ventilation through there because it gets stifling. We close the top, and it's, even though there's venting there, but we know how much, I've worked on it so many years, I know exactly how much venting it takes to have the right circulation going up through. There is two things that I know are gonna end up being extras. One is the lady's condition of her sheet metal from basically her armpits to her toes is just brittled. And basically, she twisted, folded, and has lots of rust. And this is pretty much evidence of the way all of all of it looks like this. And it's just these fragmented. It's taken a lot of pushing, pulling, head scratching, making wood parts to fit in slots, and, you know, just trying to bring her back to the shape she was.
Yeah.
And we're most of the way there now, from tip of head down to about the waist. And the rest of it, you have to look at it in spots that are like this size, or you get depressed. I'm not kidding. It's like,
You don't look at the whole thing, huh?
you gotta be kidding, you know? It's kind of like when we started on the courthouse bell tower, when it was such a mess. So anyhow, I know we can get through it, I know we can do it, it's gonna be better than it ever was, and she'll have lift eyes in her, and just be really easy to maintain and take care of in the future.
So, that's exciting, and we'll also, with Andrew continuing, also continue to carry that knowledge.
Oh, absolutely.
How it is, how it is.
Should be for decades.
Yeah, should be for decades,
Yep.
Yeah, no, that's.
And we'll have it documented, we'll have the digital, the 3D.
Yeah, the 3D visual stuff,
Yeah.
that's good stuff, that's good.
You know, I really appreciate the opportunity to do this, it's quite a challenge.
Yeah.
I've never enjoyed plain old jobs. It's never been my way.
No, I know.
I didn't realize when Harold Roars invited me up to clean out all the pigeon manure, that we would end up here, you know, 40 some years later, 45 years, whatever it was, and.
But it's a work in progress, it's been all this time.
It sure has,
It's a building that you can, the way it's designed, the way it looks, it's something you can fall in love with.
Oh, yeah.
Because the biggest question out there is, she's going back up, isn't she? I said, oh, yeah, we get it all done, so we'll go back up there, and if people want it, so it's good, you know.
And this is great that, you know, Jen was here, got some pictures.
And I also want to interview you sometime, if you can do it today, we can do it today.
Yeah, I was planning on being back around 2, if that's.
2 o'clock up at the radio station, go up in the radio station, if I'm not right in that first room, I'll be in the back, because I think I got 1 or 2 already up there today, so. That'll be fine.
All right, Dave Black had been talking to me about it, but I wasn't able to make it when he wanted to do that.
And my program is short, but Dave will interview you some more, and then he'll put segments on from time, because people want to know, you know, and I'm sure Jen knows that too, people question, don't they? I mean, they want to know what's going on, and.
Oh, absolutely, and they should know, and we'll have more of it online as time goes on, but it's been pretty busy for us.
Yeah,
And,
yeah,
you know, a
yeah.
lot of, well, just to get this thing launched when we
Yeah,
did was
yeah.
amazing, you know,
Yeah,
with the
yeah.
timeframe
Lot
that
of
we're
work,
dealing
yeah.
with. And we realized that everybody's had lots on their plate, lots
Right.
of things you never expected. And I'm just happy to be here doing this. with you.
Yeah.
And we may be able to put, at least put the pictures that we have taken, put them out on our website.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the one looking through the neck of
Yeah.
the head, and you
Yeah,
can
yeah.
see the pinholes. And,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
on the scales, all the holes in that, and in the arm, and so, yeah,
Neat.
yeah.
That's, the scale, that's gonna be a nice replacement.
Yeah, we spent quite a bit of time on the
Yeah.
design on
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And honestly, we thought about making them convex, concave like they are, but
No.
we gave that
No,
up because
no,
it
no.
really holds a lot of
Too much, yeah,
debris.
yeah.
You know, it's really not the spot that we wanted to have a lot of holes.
Yeah,
And ice building and all kinds
Yeah,
of things
yeah.
happening, because that flying saucer of ice could go out of there
Yep.
and come down and kill somebody.
Yeah.
This is gonna be less apt to
Small,
have any of
smooth,
those
yep,
issues.
yep, I like the idea, yep.
And then that will be tied to her waist, so it has the rocking bar there so that they don't start going like
Mhm.
this. And then she'll have another heavier brace coming into her hip.
Mm-hmm.
So when she's holding it like this.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it will tie in down in
Right,
there. It's
right.
about 25, 26 inches high. And, any other questions about, the process here?
I don't have any,
Okay.
I'm just excited to see
Yeah,
this.
yeah, it's neat to see, it's neat to see.
Well, that's why I wanted to bring it and share
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
because we're having fun with it.
Oh, I'm sure,
It's,
oh, yeah.
You know, some days you go, oh, man, I'm looking forward to that part of it. But,
Yeah,
you know, a lot of cuts, there are a lot of cuts happening, even when we wear the gloves and it's your elbows.
oh, I'm sure,
You know?
yeah.
There's so many sharp parts
Yeah.
inside and around her.
Oh, I suppose,
It's
yeah.
Pretty difficult. But anyhow, we'll just, plan on getting together this afternoon.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thanks for bringing everything.
in, we'll help you.
Yeah, we can carry some stuff out. Yeah,
That'd be great, yeah. We can set it out by the curb and I'll pull my truck up. And then anything that we are replacing, if you choose to display it, you might want to have a display case somewhere in the courthouse so that you know, the sword is still in Eric's office, the old sword.
Yeah,
And I'm not sure that that's really the appropriate way to keep that, because if somebody really knew that it was there, we don't want that on.
yeah.
You know, we really need to have a display case
Yeah.
made. Somebody mentioned maybe the kids out at Ford County could make one up or
Those,
something,
yeah.
or you might have one within the
Yeah,
county's,
yeah,
stuff.
yeah, it's probably,
Figure out, see what we have, and
and
then figure out,
either we build a display case or the Historical Society, maybe they've got a place, I don't know, would they have a place to even, to display it?
yeah, we could probably do something in the courthouse.
Yeah,
You know, like on the second floor, kind of in
yeah.
the center,
Yeah.
up against one of the walls,
Yeah,
or two
yeah.
of the walls.
Yeah, that might, yeah.
You know, one thing we hadn't discussed also, and we probably ought to start to look forward to it, is if you're gonna have a get-together surrounding this, putting the lady back up and all the 200th anniversary, and we probably ought to start looking toward a date. And if I was gonna say a date, I would say sometime right before Labor Day next year.
Next year.
Because I think it's gonna take us the summer. There's no sense in trying to put all these coatings on
No.
and do all the things we have to do on the steeple
Right.
until the weather's excellent.
Right,
I mean,
right.
for us to work in the wind up there and splatter
Yeah.
people's cars and not get it right. So I'm kind of thinking, you know, we'll really kick it off in the upper part of June 15th. They can be painting the north and the west side.
Right.
But we should really be looking toward doing, you know, June 15th to, you know,
End of August.
August,
Yeah,
you know,
Yeah.
August late.
yeah.
And that really gives us some
And about
dry, quiet weather to do what we need to do when we're ready.
Try to put her back up around Labor Day.
And then, one other thing that I'd like to suggest, and that's, I think, it would be really nice for the kids of the communities in Henry County to be able to put together a time capsule thing. We could create, no extra charge, a time capsule piece that would be put in her somewhere, that could be opened, the door could be opened up, so to speak, and then that taken out at a certain time, 50 years from now or something. 100 or 100 are a little far-fetched for me because everybody's gone.
Yeah, no.
You might as well do it for 50 years, so everybody can kind of still appreciate when they were, you know.
Yeah, if you do if you put a 50-year thing and somebody goes up there and opens that then, and there's people around that are 18, 19 years old who say, hey, I remember that day, I was there, I stood there and watched it put up, or even 10 years old, you know, you remember that.
And with all these new electronics devices, you know, they'd be able to put some thumb drives and some other things in, and some memorabilia, and there's quite a bit of room in her, you know, so it's not like it's gonna be, well, we only have this much space, you know, you might be able to put something that's more like a cylinder, and has a lock on it, so somebody can't just scale up there and take the thing, but, you know, it's locked onto her mainframe, so to speak, and only one person has the combination. It's probably gonna be you, or you, because none of the rest of us are gonna be around yet.
Well, that's why I brought that up about 50 years, because I can remember back 50 years, but 100 years, I can't remember back that far.
So, anyway, those are a couple of things, if we can start to work on, you know, those kind of fun things for the community.
Yeah, have that problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
Mm-hmm.
We would need to kind of kick the idea off, February, March, provided kids are in school.
That'd be great.
To get it done before end of school.
Well, it gives you guys a chance to be with the community too, which I think is really important. You know, the kids see the commissioners, you guys go out and collect these things, take a little time to be part of the community.
Right.
And it really, it just ends up being just a really community kind of.
Their eyes are gonna be blue? Were their eyes blue before? Their eyes?
Yeah, they might have been, I don't know. I think they were, actually.
What about lip color? What shade are we gonna go?
Well, actually, we've been thinking about putting together a whole palette of colors that would be used, and then having you take a look at those and kind of coach us along on these things, you know? Because, it's going to be really nice to have a little more detail on her than she had.
It was starting to fade away pretty bad.
Yeah, and she just had kind of a pale face, and you know, I think there's a lot more to work with, and especially now that you're not just trying to cover up some holes with some caulking. And, you know, really give her a nice look. And these paints we're using, this PPG, they have agreed to, because we're kind of sponsoring them as one of our main supporters in this whole thing. They're going to actually do a feature on this. And
good.
So they're going to mix up pints of paint for us. So we're going to give them like 25 colors that we want, and they're going to make up 25 pints, and then we can try some things. And not have it cost a gallon for everyone.
Right.
$$100 or more gallons. $100 a gallon, and then it's like,
no kidding.
So, you know, everybody's trying to help us work with us on this thing, so it turns out to be perfect.
It's exciting, Bill.
It's really neat.
Well, you know, I hate to say it, but us old guys, you know, it's tough to find something that we can really, you know, enjoy. I mean, we've been through a lot of stuff, and it's, you know, and so it's like, well, you know, why not? Why not have some fun with it, you know?
In a sense, this would be like your legacy.
There you go.
When you finally decide to fully retire and say, I'm done climbing, and, you know, what I did this.
Well, yeah, it's been, a wonderful project so far, everybody's,
Well, and the thing of it is, it isn't all just the climbing, it's the figuring out how to fix that stuff. And this year, what you do is pretty innovative, really, I like that idea, the way you're doing that.
You still have the definition, but yet you have the protection of.
Yeah, oh yeah, I like that.
Not setting or freeze thaw and.
Yeah.
and that's what we're doing across the entire structure.
Yeah.
So the places where the pigeon dung used to just go from the top to the bottom, and I don't know that you guys were on the committees at that time to really hear the details, but I would go back up and I would say, we need to add a water dam here, here, and here, and a couple of chutes here, here, and here, to have the water, when it rains, go down and not just swizzle down the sides and turn everything an ugly color of gray and brown. But let's get the water going and shooting off the building.
Right.
So I actually studied this, I know I'm a little weird with some of these things, but anyhow, I would go down and watch the way the icicles formed on the structure when it wasn't super windy, and then I would look at them when it was really windy, and you'd see these icicles coming off, and you could understand where the water was actually going and freezing in that spot. And that's how I figured out how to do what we've done to make it clean itself. So we're going to make her even better self-cleaning than she's ever been, and the rest of it down below. So that's my mission, is to leave it so that once we get that really nice paint on there, you don't have to worry about anything for a long time, because it's just going to whiz right off. So, anyhow.
Just don't come up with something that's clear off the wall.
Her head rocks a little bit, so Christie was talking to her and getting whatever she was wishing for.
Probably talking about the lipstick color. Okay, well, thanks for sharing with me here. Thank you so much. We'll, I don't have a bag to put this in. I kind of thought it was all loose. If you have something here that would work, that would be great.
Yeah, and we can help carry everything out.
Yeah, it was quite a few trips in and out of the
you get that all down around that, that's gonna make that really strong.
Oh, yeah, screwed together and glued and, you know, you cannot get this urethane off these pieces without tearing the pieces. That's how strong it is. And the only way that we've been able to cut into it is either with a really sharp knife, and they make a glazing knife, and they jiggle, and then it's just sharp as a carpet razor knife, and you have to pull it through it. Or we use one of those multi-tools with a special blade on it. It's the only way you can cut stuff.
Wow.
So anyhow,
Does it bond itself into the metal, or?
This? Yeah, you use a primer. You actually have, there are primers for metal and masonry specific to that particular product. There's super high chemistry being used on this stuff, and this is Trimco caulking that we're using on this, which is the best there is in the world. And the products, give you some idea, at Campbell Soup, I used to do work out there for a long time, almost 20 years. And they had a spot, and I thought, well, I'm going to show the engineers this, and we'll see how long this Trimco caulk lasts. And so I prepped it and everything around this drain, and there's a spot on the cookers. They have those tall cookers out front. Piping hot water. I mean, this is 280 kind of water, you know, this extreme hot water, coming off the top and coming down this drain pipe and spilling about this far off the ground onto this concrete, and the concrete was starting to eat out around, and there was nothing left but slots around this drain. And I caulked all that in, and the last time it was there, about 10 years ago, it was still there. It had lasted 7 or 8 years and never even, because it will flex 125%.
Really?
It's that forgiving. You know, you kind of feel this stuff, and it never really loses that kind of strength.
Does it dry out?
No, it never dries out.
So it always will have that kind of that moist feel. Because when I first touched it, I thought, that's just been applied, but no,
that's been on there about a week and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, and we let everything dry thoroughly. It just is a time-consuming process. When you pour the self-leveling stuff in, we should be able to pull the mold in about 3 or 4 days. You just put it out in the sun, and that helps it along. And so just a lot of tricks,
Yeah.
Well, hey.
Oh, thank you, Bill.
You can carry the head.
Yeah, and that doesn't have any sharp spots on it, but these have a lot of really spiny little pieces on them, and they are, you can get a rip mark with these, and that's
What did we do? Obviously, cookies involved, it wasn't there.
I think there's a little bit of a slippage. She was going, she's like, oh my God, look at it, and it like rolled, and I'm like, yeah.
Front page, a picture of the parade of.
Oh, yeah, well, there you go.
Well, the info, you know?
They're keeping the big thing.
Yeah.
But they're keeping the original, right?
Well, the originals will be someplace, but I think the way it sounded to me, they're gonna make a piece that's pliable that's gonna go.
Okay, that's what I was trying to
Yeah,
figure out,
that's
but
what
then
I-
they were pouring that in there, so I wasn't sure
Yeah.
they're keeping the original.
I think those are the originals, but he's gonna,
Make something different.
it'll kind of fold a little bit more,
Okay.
yeah. That's what I got out of
Okay.
that. And something that won't, corrode so bad, you know, with water.
Right, okay.
With water damage. Yeah, pretty interesting. He takes it pretty seriously.
Yeah, well, and you want somebody who does that, so.
Yeah, because it's his passion, like you said, I'm about the age, this is gonna be it, you know, I wanna make the last one good, so, that's good. Yeah, we're seeing history made right here.
Super quick, do you know, what's your thing on Thursday at the fairground?
We're gonna go look
The
at,
building committee?
yeah, they're going to, there's a committee of fair board members.
Okay.
They're looking into building a new, cattle barn. And they're gonna show us kind of what they got in mind.
What they're
Yeah,
envisioning?
yeah.
Okay.
And, they're gonna be, and I don't wanna put that in paper. because
No, we were just
they're
debating
going to-
about going.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure.
it's on the agenda, so I'm sure you.
No, but yeah, I just had no idea
Yeah,
what.
yeah, and it's, they got an idea what they wanna do, they don't have an idea how they're gonna pay for it yet.
Well, that's always the problem.
That's always the biggest issue.
Yeah.
So, I think they're gonna want, eventually they're gonna want some advertising on it because, or people knowing about it, because they're gonna go out, I think what they're gonna do is same thing the senior center did.
Oh,
Ask for donations.
capital campaign,
Yeah,
type
capital
deal.
campaign, yeah.
Did they ever pay off the new ag one? Ag Hall of Fame stuff?
Yes, actually, he just, Denton Blue just got on the fair board.
Okay.
And Denton told me the other day, I passed him, he lives right out by my house, and I passed him, and we stopped on the road there, and I said, yeah, you're starting this one, but you haven't got the other one paid off. He said, just made a motion, at my first meeting, I made a motion to make the last payment on it.
Okay.
So it's paid off, apparently, yeah, according to him, so that's,
That's been, I was gonna say, I didn't think they paid off, but I'm thinking the last time I really heard much.
yeah, I knew they still had some a year ago, yeah, because Wayne always tells me about it, and he talks, I think he might even talk about it on the radio program too, about that, but, so they're gonna want to, I think, because I kind of suggested to him, I said, well, you know what we did at the senior center, you know, go around, there's from businesses and stuff, and farmers, you know, we do a lot of farmers that would be interested in donating to that.
Like a replacement or a new one in addition to, or not sure?
No, they're gonna replace, I think that there's some, I think that's what it looks like to me so far. Yeah, I think it's gonna be replaced, yeah, because that show ring back there is,
Well,
that's old,
yeah.
and it's getting pretty junky back there, and, yeah, I think they're gonna replace some of that. I'm not sure, that's what we're gonna find out, I had questions too, how far are you going, because some of that in the dairy barn there is fairly new yet. If we're gonna take it down the street.
Oh.
Part, you know, that long dairy
Oh,
barn,
they're
where the
gonna-
dairy cows are, yeah. So, they're gonna probably eliminate some of that and take some of that down, and then that part across the back where the sheep are, and the show ring and the hogs, I think that's what's gonna be, I think, that's what I got out of the winter talking anyhow, yeah. That's what we're going out there for, they're gonna show us that stuff, so.
Okay.
It'll be interesting to see, and it'll be interesting to see if they can gather some
Well,
money,
you know, it's, never know, I guess.
Yeah, and it's odd to say this, but coming out of this year, people are gonna really appreciate the fair more next year.
You know, yeah, probably,
Yeah.
but it's like just what everything's gonna look like if people have the money to give.
Yeah.
I mean.
Yeah, see what's gonna happen. But, you know, for the most part, we got made whole for the most part. I mean, some people didn't
Oh, yeah.
cost money, but most people, you know, as far as individual people, if they weren't working, they got paid pretty good, you know.
Except for that poor woman who apparently hasn't gotten anything that she didn't.
Okay, wow, yeah.
That would have to be frustrating for
That
them, though,
would be
that they can't do it, that they
frustrating.
can't do anything
Yeah.
to try to
Well,
help either, I mean.
that's the state saying, we can do it there, you can do it. We'll just do it all here, and then they screw it.
Oh, yeah, I was gonna say, if you
Yeah.
can know the fact that you have,
Yeah.
how many more people, if you could, at
Yeah.
least even one person per each office,
Right.
and train them on how you wanna do it,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
everything like that.
No, they could, that's the state, they always think they can do everything better. Bigger is better. We can do it. We can do it here. Sure.
Let's get our meeting finished up.
Yeah.
Bob, would answer all your questions, Jen?
Yep.
Nope. She's gonna hang around.
Or created some more.
Yeah, usually when Bob answers questions, he creates more questions.
Well, you know, as we get older, you say, are you sure?
How'd you wanna say that? Yeah.
Yeah, are you sure?
Yeah.
Well, why don't we go ahead?
Yeah.
And let's prove some budget adjustments.
Yeah, we'll get on there.
I thought, oh my gosh, Bill did a
Did a bang-up job, didn't he?
did a wonderful.
Yeah, I'm real impressed.
Thursday's fine, or,
Thursday would be fine, Thursday would be good,
That's enough time.
yeah, Thursday would be good. What time?
I think you're,
What the
You
hell?
want to have your generation, I'll have to change it,
Can we change that? Let me,
we could do after.
click on,
Because I'm not gonna be here.
click on that and see what.
Oh, okay,
but, I'm thinking maybe like 11 or something like that.
Okay.
Noon or-
That'd be great. Thursday
I can't, hit enter, yeah.
Let's be noon for sure.
Okay, and I'll meet you up here.
Either here or in the office. wherever you want to do.
I wonder if I clicked on yours accidentally. I might have.
Could be.
Okay.
Okay, we gotta go
Same
to,
different, I'll send that email.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
one budget adjustment.
Start on that or something.
Okay,
Oh, yeah.
would there be a motion
Yeah,
to approve the budget adjustment?
you guys go back and
I'll
forth.
make that motion.
You'll make it. I'll
You guys
second.
go back and forth.
Okay.
First you motion starts, so it's like you feel like you should, and on the other hand, a lot of people leave.
Jeff?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
So it's like, you do it too early or you do it
Yes.
too late, who knows?
This,
But this year,
resolution is
we're figuring
approved.
more people are gonna do early, you're gonna probably try to hit them all. That's what's for. Oh, okay. Yep. So, all that good stuff?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
See you,
See you
Jim.
later. Bye.
See you, Jim.
Budget adjustments, then approved. Jeff made the motion, second. Roll call, yes, Bob, yes, Glenn, yes.
Thank you.
You could almost guess it though, but, you know, we have
We
to,
mixed it up a little bit.
we mixed it up a little bit. You should have voted no. That would have,
Like, don't do that to me, this is something really, you know, passionate about.
I don't know about you guys, but I could get tired of that real fast. And I know he can't help it, he's got a job to do, but that's gonna get old.
And then when they get into here.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, we're gonna have to.
We'll move, we're gonna have to move, yeah.
Yeah. And the health partners that are meeting, Mark said they could meet any other day, or they could meet in the afternoon on Thursdays. That was the time they chose, and that to meet at that time. But I let Joy know that possibly sometime in November, that we would, for a few weeks, meet it, and then they could come back. But I think maybe their conference room will be available again.
Okay. There's the, then and now, there are no, what you call it? COVID, right, publishing.
Did you get the written budget adjustment from you?
Right here, yes. I'll do that to you guys for solid waste, post closure.
I'm going for the headache today.
Yeah. This must be the paving project, I suppose.
Yeah, yeah. And then that fabric probably is fabric that they use
For a bridge.
for bridge or, well, no, it wouldn't be paving, it would be.
Well,
Why don't you click on it, let's see.
That is the one that she just signed.
for the Pines County engineer.
It's for bridge E-65
Yep.
or something like that.
You ever see how they do that? Actually, I saw the first one in northwestern Mount Hill. I helped move the dirt. Yeah, geotextile.
Okay.
Yep. When, they did it in Defiance County, what's his name? Their engineer did.
Will there be a motion to approve then and now?
I will make that motion.
I would second.
Further discussion? Hearing none. Christie?
Jeff Myers?
Yes.
Huska?
Yes.
Bud Miller?
Yes, then and now have been approved.
So now we have, 3 4G contracts for JFS and child support.
Okay.
G is between Henry County Child Support, Enforcement Agency, and Henry County Family Court, in the amount of $23,815.37, and that is July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021. These were delayed because this is something Jill does, and she's really far behind.
Oh, Jill Pop
Yeah,
from,
Maximus.
Okay. All right. This is something we do every year so we can recover 4D money.
Yeah.
So would there be a motion?
I will make that motion.
I would second.
Okay, is there any discussion? Hearing none. Christie?
Jeff Myers.
Yes.
Bob Costa.
Yes.
Glenn Miller.
Yes, this resolution is approved.
And next is the 4G contract between child support and Henry County Prosecutor's Office in the amount of $15,932.87, same date, July 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021.
Okay, will there be a motion?
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, further discussion, again, recovering 4D money from the federal government, something we do every year. Christie?
Jeff Myers.
Yes.
Bob Costa.
Yes.
Glenn Miller.
Yes, this resolution is approved.
And 252-6-E, the third 4D contract with child support and circuit court in the amount of $33,644.75 for the 2021.
Okay, will there be a motion?
I will make the motion.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, discussion, it's the same as the previous two resolutions, something we do every year, recover money through 4D federal government monies. So with that said, Christie?
Jeff Myers.
Yes.
Bob Costa.
Yes.
Glenn Miller.
Yes, this resolution is approved.
Yes, yeah.
And actually, this is the contract for $124,110.78 for Henry County Bridge E-1.65 replacement.
Okay, is that,
Which bridge is that one? One.
E-165, I'm not sure of one.
E-165.
Juke, estimate number one.
Oh, and where's that?
I need to see if this is something on that.
okay, so it's probably your signature. We'll go with, it's an initial draw, it was, the contract was awarded to Knuckles, so.
Okay.
Would there be a motion?
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
Okay, further discussion? Hearing none, Christie?
Jeff Myers.
Yes.
Bob Costa.
Yes.
Glenn Miller.
Yes, this resolution is approved.
And the final is for the specs and the contract for American Road Improvement Project. Kevin went ahead and signed it, I don't know. We're going to talk about the test.
Okay.
Which has nothing to do with this at the moment, it's just plans and specifications. Or the document, the specifications and contract should be there.
It's all, which Michael has signed off, and
How much, what was the bid?
We're going to 490 for us. Yeah, it's
That sounds right.
500
is through, CDBG.
which is all we, but it has all the information.
Okay, would there be a motion?
We'll make that motion.
Is that on the American Road?
Yep.
Yeah, okay, I'll second. I was only half paying attention.
And that's the portion they're working on right now.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, if there's no other discussion, Christie?
Jeff Myers,
Yes.
Bob Huska,
Yes.
Glenn Miller.
Yes, this resolution is approved. Okay, Christie, do you have anything else for us?
Did you talk to Tanya this morning from?
Yes?
Okay. She called to you, and then a lady who called to you a couple times, and I forwarded her to your desk, Jeff. I don't know if she left you a message.
Is it?
Yeah, your phone was ringing this morning when I walked in there.
So she might have gone to a Conrad maybe?
What,
Don't quote me on that name, but I think.
what was it about?
She just shake it like she kind of knew you.
I'll go check it out.
Did Tanya call me here?
Yep. I know he's probably next door having coffee. So I'll transfer.
She called me in my car then. I was
Oh, no, this was, well, you may not have been here yet.
I was sitting right out there in the parking lot. I talked to her for about 20 minutes.
Session at the fairground Thursday at 8:30.
8:30?
We're just gonna start normal session when you get back here, or?
Well, that would be the start of normal session.
So do you want me to come out there?
Yeah, why don't you?
Okay.
I think we're pretty well, you're not going to be here first, correct?
If I am, it'll be late.
Okay.
I have no idea what time.
No worries.
I would say don't count on it.
Yeah, I get you off.
We won't do anything real controversial or
Point me to any.
point you to any committee. I feel like I need to be a part of it.
Yeah, but I gotta quit doing that because I might want to take a vacation this winter and then that's not gonna work out well.
And you sit there and, where's Thomas?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's on vacation.
Yeah.
You have to look at every one of them.
Never know.
Okay.
Sometimes they do and sometimes they don't.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Okay, Bob, do you have anything else?
No, other than yesterday I attended the, small county phone conference and, not much got talked about. One thing we did tell Adam, see what you can do about getting our money, our time extended to spend the CARES money. He goes, yeah, I'll get right on that.
Well, it sounds like we've come and kind of with.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I figured he would, I just knew he was looking at possibly the third week to cut everything out. And I looked at it to see where we were with round 3, and then see what he was willing to do. So we got that up. Would you and Anna begin to track your time?
I'm gonna do a spreadsheet.
Anna really deals more.
But I'll go back to payroll and do a spreadsheet. If we're gonna do that portion, I guess I didn't know we were gonna.
And we'll need hard copy. We can store the digital copy on the server.
And you can go rest
of the hard copy. Jeff, do you have anything else?
I do not.
Okay.
And then I did have another meeting after that first one, a phone conference with, Fulton County Commissioner Bill Rufinock for 45 minutes. No, it was about a half hour, it wasn't 45 minutes, a half hour. Yeah, a half hour. We talked about, he said, do you know anything at all about, you guys in your county have an ambulance district on the south end of the county? I said, yeah, I know a little bit about it. I was there when it started. Well, I called the right guy.
Now, he's done this year, right?
Yeah.
Is that too short running for the,
I don't know who's running for his.
it was a factor to running.
Oh, yeah.
I just saw something the other day.
Well, there's two of them up.
Oh, are there two?
John is up, isn't he? Or is it Jeff?
It's Jeff.
Okay. I don't know.
Is Jeff running again?
I thought so.
Because he had said something about not.
I think Short and Thacker are the ones.
Yeah,
So that'd be Billy.
So
that'd be Bill C, yeah.
And then the other ones are, I am somebody.
Yeah, I think that name's defined now. Yeah.
What's the name?
Diane Mayor.
Mayor, yeah, that's Defiance County. She's at Defiance too as well. Yeah. Nick and,
Diane.
Yeah, as far as I know, we're about the only, which is highly unusual.
Yeah.
You know, it would normally be two,
Yeah.
and then in 2 more years, it will be,
Yeah.
1 commissioner and the auditor.
And, I was telling, Glenn, Steve Stites, that's at, Wyandotte County, he got beat out in the primary already, he told me yesterday. He's been on, he's in my 12th year. I said, you came on when I did then. He said, yeah, apparently. And,
I could imagine 3 new commissioners.
yeah. That'd be something, yeah.
It would be horrible.
Last time we went through.
They went to 2, they had 2 new
It
ones.
might be fun though.
Yeah, they had 2 brand new commissioners, and 1 commissioner who had been in office
2 years. Yeah, Ryan had only been there 2 years. And I asked Ryan, I said, you ready for this? He goes, oh, no. He goes, would you be? I said, no. Yep. But he's been around this kind of stuff because he'd worked for Ladder, so he knew a lot of stuff that I didn't.
Yeah. And politics. How it kind of runs at least.
And then Sherry would have been a huge help.
Oh,
Okay, I don't have, just I got sidetracked, I don't have anything else of importance, so would there be a motion to adjourn?
I will make that motion.
I'll second. Christie?
Jeff Myers,
Yes.
Glenn Moore,
Yes.
and Bob is out of the.
Okay, we are adjourned at, 11 a.m.
That's nice, but Bill has history on her.